Hello, hello, Gecko fans. I'm here with the one and only Wally Kern of Supreme Gecko and the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas. Wally, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Great to finally meet you in person. It's been a pleasure working with you over the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas, and a pleasure meeting you. Thanks.
That was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I know you put a lot of work into it, and I want to thank you because my family really enjoyed it. It was awesome. So,
it's a blast for us. It's a blast for us, and we look forward to it every single year. It's a lot of work in the initial part of setting it up and getting the vendors involved and doing everything the right way, and then it's so tiring at the end. But you know, the next year we're looking forward to the year coming up, just the next day after it ends.
And you know what? You never know what guest visitor you might have.
You don't, and I don't want to spill any beans maybe for next year, but we had such a fantastic guest person showing up. I want to say person. It was Santa. We had Santa this last year, and hopefully Santa will be there next year. We'll see, folks.
You know what? I'm betting he will be. I'm betting he will be, because he's a good dude.
I want to say that Santa showing up made the event this year because we had so many people saying my kids loved it. They're into reptiles now and they're watching this show, and Santa made their day. So that was such a kick for the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas.
It sure was. Now let's turn our focus towards Supreme Gecko. So how long have you been doing Supreme Gecko, breeding all the different geckos?
I started with Supreme Gecko. Well, I'm going to jump back and I'm going to take a second here and I'll make it short. I started keeping fish in my early 20s, and I got a lot of the gecko experience from keeping fish. And we kept fish for probably about 8 to 10 years. We were involved with all the club activities, president, editors, BAP programs, if you know what that is, breeder award programs. Just had a blast, but then the career took over and the family took over, obviously, and with the fish I had to make a choice of two of them, and unfortunately the fish took the side of everything, so I dropped out of fish for a long time, but something was missing once the kids got a little bit older and we weren't carting them to soccer games every single night. So I got back into geckos about 22, 23 years ago, and it just took off. I went to a reptile show like NARBC here in Tinley Park, picked up a pair of leopard geckos, and one pair soon became 2 pair, soon became 20 pair, and it was off and flying. The next year I picked up a pair of crested geckos. Again, this is 20 years ago and not much was known about crested geckos.
Right.
And started working with them because I was buying insects for the leopard geckos anyway, so started getting into crested geckos, and man, it just took off from there.
Oh, that sounds kind of similar. I recently got back into it after a long hiatus, primarily because of having kids and life and what have you. So I'm actually back into breeding leopard geckos, and I've really enjoyed your channel. But I know that cresties and leopards are not the only thing you work with, and I know you have a favorite species.
I do have a favorite species. So I love all the geckos. I don't know if I've ever found a gecko that hasn't in some way, from color to shape to size to behavior, that I haven't fallen passionately in love with. Love leopard geckos. I've been keeping them for 22 years. I used to breed a lot of leopard geckos. I scaled down because I felt like I was breeding too many and it wasn't fun anymore. So we scaled down from leopard geckos. We scaled down from crested geckos. My passion for years and years have been rare geckos. The little geckos that you see on tables that are maybe $25 or maybe $1,000, depending on how rare they are. And nobody knows what they are, and nobody probably cares except Wally and Supreme Gecko. Those are the types of geckos that kind of keeps the fire going for me. So over the years I've worked with, I don't know, probably about 150 different species of geckos. Still love crested, still love leopard geckos, but I've tried to focus not so much on leopards and crested because there's a lot of great people, flawless crested geckos, that do such a great job with these animals. We do what we do. We have our little niche with cresteds and leopard geckos, but we also do, my niche is Periodora picta, because I love to bring that animal to a show, and just like crested geckos, let somebody hold the little Peridora picked in their hand and get that first, oh my gosh, this is so cute kind of experience with a reptile. But also, it's interesting for me because I can breed these, and once in a while I'll get something that just looks different, just like every crested gecko breeder does.
Right.
You know, while they're breeding, something that looks different, and it's like, okay, here we go. This is something different that I can work with and try to isolate this pattern or color, like red, or like white, or like black, and push that forward and try to get an all black animal, or all white animal. That's what makes it fun for me.
There's a lot of variation in those, and you know, I gotta tell you, we're in the process of buying a house, and I'm super excited because I'm finally going to have my man cave, which will be the reptile room.
Outstanding.
And it's I don't know, Haley, what do you think? About 500 square feet?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of space.
And right now I've got 28 leopard geckos, so I got a lot of space to fill. So I would imagine in the hopefully not too distant future, I might be giving you a call to help me fill that space. So, and I think the Pictus might be a way to go. That sounds pretty interesting to me. You never really, there's so much variation, you never really know what you're going to get. It's awesome.
It really is, and you know, I hatched these out, and last year we probably produced, I want to say 250 to maybe 350 Peridora picked up. That's a lot of animals. That's a lot of animals, but they're a good seller, number one. But number two, last year I hatched out 2 that just look so different that it made all of the work. You know, keeping all these separate pairs and Peridora picked up are easy to keep and easy to care for, and they breed like little rabbits. So it's easy to saturate a market very quickly. But for me, I want to make sure that each one finds a new home and the right home for them. Mm-hmm. But also for me, as a breeder, it's pretty cool to get those 2 every year, 1 or 2 a year, that keeps that fire going, like, okay, I'm going to work this line and see if I can develop this a little bit more.
Absolutely. You know, you kind of started going down a road that I was going to take you down. The state of the hobby. One of the things that I really enjoy about this show, you know, we're here at Tinley, the spring show, and one of the things I really enjoy about it is all of the children that are here walking around. They're here with their parents, and it almost seems like a lot of them are leading their parents, and it's that next generation. But besides that, where do you see the hobby at right now? Where is it going? Obviously, kids are the future.
Kids are the future. A memory that sticks in my mind. I'm a big baseball fan. And I took the family when the kids were just like little tiny kids, and it was always, will last for however many innings until the kids get bored. 3 boys. So we went to a game, and the oldest was probably 10 and the youngest was 6. And they went to the edge of the wall and called for a player. Come over. And I said, that's Eddie. Go say hi, Eddie. And he'd run his sprints at the beginning of the game, and he'd look at the kids and turn around and run the sprints back and forth. And they came up and they were all disappointed. And, he didn't say hi, Dad. It's okay. They're very busy and they have a lot on their minds. It's a baseball game. They have to be focused. And Jim Tomei, I'll drop a name here, came out, and Eddie went off into the dugout, and Jim Tomei came, and he's running. He said, go say hi to Jim, and just say hi. Hi, Jim. And sure enough, coming back, he puts his head down. I'm thinking, here we go again. This is it. So they come, he gets through the line, and he doesn't stop. He keeps coming to the wall, and he sits down, and he talks to them. How are you doing, kids? Who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite player? And he spent 2 minutes, and that 2 minutes was worth a lifetime to these kids. So when I'm standing behind a table looking at geckos and a child comes up, the whole money thing is gone immediately. This is our future right here. Right. My job right now is to educate and train and share the passion and the excitement that I have with these kids. I love working the high-end geckos, and the cash register is always friendly to that, but if I didn't make a penny and I got 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 little kids involved with reptiles for the future, I win.
I couldn't agree more. You know, it's interesting to me because, you know, obviously with the economy being what it is right now, a lot of people are kind of panicking. They're dropping their prices. You know, they're trying to get rid of stuff. Some people are even jumping out of it altogether. Myself, I think of it, I look at the stock market. You haven't really lost any money until you sold your stock. So here's the thing. If you're greedy, when is the time for you to do that? Or do you think there is a time?
There is a time, and I'll say it a different way. I kind of know where you're going here, and I'm going to back off about 3 steps. The time to think about the business end of things is before you buy your first gecko. If you're doing it for a business purpose, then you're kind of doing it for the wrong reasons. You really want to do it for your passion and what you want to work with. If you're doing crested geckos, do the crested geckos and do the things that make you have excitement and joy and passion for the hobby. The time to sell is not when the market obviously stocks, and we can do all those analogies and buy low, sell high. But that's not the time for crested. The time right now is if you love something like a lily white or a cap or something like that. You know, the prices are dropping. Go out and buy 1 or 2. Don't build your collection on lily whites and caps right now because you know the market's still going to go down. But find a really, really super nice one because the prices are coming down reasonably well. And find a good breeder and talk to them and say, this is what I'm looking for, and take your time and build one piece at a time instead of saying, I want to get into these, I want 20 animals, and I want to have 1,000 babies tomorrow. That's the wrong way to look at it. Right?
I couldn't agree more. I really could not agree more. And you know, you're segueing me right into my next question for you, and which will probably be the last question. So you had a little bit of time to walk around the NARBC show before we were able to connect. Was there an animal that jumped out at you that you were just like, oh my gosh, this thing is amazing?
Wow. Yeah, just about every single table that had geckos. You know, I'll stop, and my wife Nanette will attest to this. I'll stop at every single table. Wally, you've seen all these crested geckos, and she's not that way. She'll so patiently stand right there by my side and wait for me to look at all the animals. But, you know, every single animal looked really super cool today. A lot of great looking crested geckos, a lot of gargoyles. Gargoyles are so hot right now, gargoyle geckos. For me, so again, you know, my niche is crusteds and gargoyles and some leopard geckos in the Periodor picta, but I like a lot of the rare geckos too. So for me, I found a table. It was Josh's Frogs, good company, and they had these little teeny tiny, and everybody was walking by the table, and I said, oh, ooh, that's Ligodactylus kimhowli. I haven't seen them in like 10 years. So we stood there, and a tough decision, but I don't have a tank set up right now, and I know Josh's Frogs I can order from at some point, so I'll go home and set up a tank the right way, and when I'm ready and have that tank established, then I'll order some Ligodactylus kimhowli from them.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I'll be expecting to see a video.
You're gonna run over there right now and steal those Ligodactylus kimhowli, aren't you?
No. But I am going to patiently wait to, you know, see those pop up on your channel.
There you go.
I absolutely love your channel. I love all that you've done with the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas. And, well, you've done a lot for the hobby, and I think you're going to continue to do a lot for the hobby for a long time to come. And I'm proud to call you my friend.
Oh, it's my pleasure entirely. This
Thank you,
is
sir.
all about the community. You talk about moving forward. If we can build this community and stop being, you know, a tic-tac mentality of it's in and out, and we build friendships and networks. We're walking away literally with one animal that I ordered from somebody, you know, a month ago, and hey, let me pick it up at Tinley. That's what it's all about. And we talked to so many people today and met new friends and rekindled old relationships. And it's not about wearing the Supreme Gecko shirt. Yeah. It's about talking to good people and spreading the passion. If you can do that, you win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be kind.
Be kind.
That's what we're saying.
There you go.
Be kind. All right. Well, thank you once again, and I'll look for you on your channel.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for having me.
You bet.